Hello everyone, welcome back to our channel Law in Motion. On August 5, 2019, something extraordinary happened. A single decision shook the nation, changed the course of India's history, and altered the very fabric of its constitution. In one swift move, Article 370, which had given special status to Jammu and Kashmir for over 70 years, was revoked. This was one of the most debated constitutional changes in recent history, hailed by some, criticized by others. But how did we get here? And why was Article 370 so significant in the first place? Before we dive into the dramatic events of the abrogation, let's rewind a bit. What exactly was Article 370, and why did it matter so much? Article 370 was a special provision in the Indian Constitution, a kind of exception carved out for Jammu and Kashmir. It granted the state a unique status, one that no other state in India enjoyed. What did this mean? Well, Jammu and Kashmir could have its own constitution, its own laws, and most importantly, more autonomy than any other state. Think of it like this: while other Indian states followed the Indian constitution directly, Jammu and Kashmir had the VIP pass to self-governance. Their constitution could override certain provisions of India's constitution, giving them control over areas like laws, land, and local governance. But here's the twist: this special status was never meant to last forever. It was supposed to be a temporary provision. Yet, it stuck around for over 7 decades. 70 years. It's kind of like borrowing your friend's car for the weekend, and then, just never giving it back. Imagine how awkward that conversation would be. So, what started as a temporary arrangement became a defining feature of the relationship between Jammu and Kashmir and the Indian Union. For some, this special autonomy symbolized the protection of the region's identity. For others, it felt like a barrier to full integration with India. But this fragile balance would soon be shaken, leading to one of the most controversial decisions in modern Indian history. To understand the conflict behind Article 370, we need to rewind the clock to 1947, a year of independence, partition, and tough choices. At the time, India was a newly independent nation, with princely states, like Jammu and Kashmir, caught in a dilemma. Would they join India, Pakistan, or remain independent? Maharaja Hari Singh, the ruler of Jammu and Kashmir, found himself in a precarious position. His kingdom was a rich, diverse region, home to both Hindus and Muslims. The decision he made would shape the destiny of millions. As tensions between India and Pakistan escalated, war broke out over Kashmir. Under pressure, and facing the threat of invasion, Maharaja Hari Singh made a historic choice: he agreed to accede to India. But it wasn't without conditions. This agreement came with certain guarantees for Jammu and Kashmir. Article 370 was one of them. It granted the state special autonomy, meaning Jammu and Kashmir could have its own laws, its own constitution, and more control over local matters than any other state in India. But there was one catch: Article 370 was meant to be temporary. A bridge that would ease Jammu and Kashmir into the Indian Union. And yet, over the years, this temporary provision became permanent. Over time, Article 370 became a symbol of the unique relationship between Jammu and Kashmir and India. For many in the region, it represented the preservation of their distinct identity, their culture, and their autonomy. But for others, Article 370 became a point of contention. They saw it as an obstacle, a barrier to the full integration of Jammu and Kashmir into India. How could one state enjoy special privileges while the rest followed the same constitution? The debate surrounding Article 370 intensified over the years. The region experienced frequent unrest, with demands for greater autonomy, even independence, on one side, and calls for its abrogation on the other.
Article 370 was our shield. It protected us, our identity, and our way of life. Without it, we feared we would lose everything that made us Kashmiri. It was time for change. Article 370 kept us isolated. We need progress, development, and full integration with the rest of India. Only then will our region thrive.
For some, Article 370 symbolized the fight for their identity and their rights. For others, it represented a barrier to progress and unity. This clash of perspectives is what made the abrogation of Article 370 in 2019 so controversial. The story behind Article 370 is more than just a legal conflict. It's a story of history, identity, and the complex relationship between Jammu and Kashmir and the rest of India. And even though the article may have been abrogated, the debates and emotions surrounding it continue to shape the region today. Fast forward to August 5, 2019. A day that would reshape the future of Jammu and Kashmir and redefine India's constitutional framework. In a bold and unprecedented move, the Indian government, led by Prime Minister Narendra Modi, made an announcement that shook the country to its core. Article 370 was revoked. In one stroke, Jammu and Kashmir's special status, which had been in place for over 7 decades, was gone.
This is historic. We have never seen a change like this in modern Indian politics.
In an instant, the laws governing Jammu and Kashmir were rewritten. A state with its own constitution, its own flag, and even its own legal autonomy was now fully integrated into India. Imagine this, overnight, the political map of India changed. Jammu and Kashmir was divided into two union territories, Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh. This marked a seismic shift in India's political landscape. This wasn't just about changing lines on a map. It was about transforming the identity of an entire region. Jammu and Kashmir was no longer a state. The autonomy it once enjoyed under Article 370 was erased, and with it, a political arrangement that had stood since India's independence. For some, the abrogation was a long overdue step toward unity. For others, it was a painful loss of identity, raising questions about autonomy, rights, and the future of the region. So, what does the abrogation of Article 370 mean for the people of Jammu and Kashmir? For some, this moment marked a new beginning, a cause for celebration. To them, it symbolized the complete integration of Jammu and Kashmir into India, opening doors for investment, development, and equal rights under the Indian Constitution.
A historic decision that will usher in a new era of peace and prosperity for Jammu and Kashmir.
Now, I feel like we are truly part of India. We have the same rights and opportunities as everyone else. This is our chance for a better future.
But for others, the abrogation of Article 370 raised concerns about identity, autonomy, and the future of the region. To them, it felt like a betrayal, an erasure of the special status that had protected their unique cultural and political identity for decades.
We've lost our autonomy, our voice in how we govern ourselves. It's not just about Article 370, it's about our history, our identity. This was forced upon us.
Legally speaking, the decision had far-reaching consequences. Some constitutional experts questioned its validity. Was this move in line with the spirit of Article 370? Did the government have the legal power to make such a monumental change without the consent of the people? Debates erupted in courtrooms and political circles across the nation. Some argued that this decision undermined the democratic process, while others hailed it as a long overdue step toward national integration. In the legal community, opinions were divided. On one hand, some experts called the abrogation unconstitutional, arguing that Jammu and Kashmir's consent should have been required for such a change.
Article 370 was not just a legal provision, but a pact between Jammu and Kashmir and India. By revoking it unilaterally, the government has set a dangerous precedent for federalism. This was necessary. Article 370 was holding the region back from progress. The abrogation has finally allowed Jammu and Kashmir to fully join the rest of India.
For the people of Jammu and Kashmir, the real impacts of this decision continue to unfold. Some are hopeful for a brighter, more integrated future, while others fear that their autonomy, culture, and history are at risk. The story of Article 370 is far from over. What do you think? Was this a step toward unity, or the loss of a region's identity? Let us know in the comments below. So, why does this matter today? The abrogation of Article 370 was not just a legal milestone, it was a tectonic shift that altered the political, social, and legal landscape of India. Since the abrogation, Jammu and Kashmir has witnessed an influx of development, new roads, better healthcare facilities, educational institutions, all aiming to integrate the region with the rest of India. This is the government's vision for a new, prosperous Jammu and Kashmir. But this progress hasn't come without its challenges. The abrogation of Article 370 also raised profound questions about federalism, autonomy, and the delicate balance of power between states and the central government. Critics argue that the move was unconstitutional, that it stripped Jammu and Kashmir of its special identity without adequate representation or consultation. And yet, for many, the abrogation represents the long-awaited full integration of Jammu and Kashmir into the Indian Union. It symbolizes unity and the idea of one nation, one constitution. As India continues to navigate these complex realities, the legacy of Article 370 remains a point of debate, not just in the courts, but in the hearts of the people. So, what do you think? Was the abrogation of Article 370 the right move for India? At the end of the day, the abrogation of Article 370 was more than just a legal decision. It was a bold political move with far-reaching impacts on the law, on the region, and on India's national identity. Here are 3 key takeaways for every law student. The importance of constitutional interpretation, how a temporary provision lasted for decades. The role of federalism, and the delicate balance between state autonomy and national unity. The impact of political decisions on legal frameworks, and how one move can change the trajectory of a nation. Thanks for watching this deep dive into the abrogation of Article 370. If you found this video fascinating, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. We've got more amazing legal stories like this one coming your way on Law in Motion. And don't forget to drop a comment below. What do you think about the court's decision? Remember, justice isn't just a word, it's a story, and we're here to tell it.